All right, dude. We are back at it. Where you been, bro?
Dude, I've been traveling a lot. I just got back 2 weeks to Colorado. Got some family stuff going on, but my girl, she turned 30, so I showed her the Rockies. Got some pretty crazy views.
Oh, nice. Was it snowing over there with all the climate change?
So, surprisingly...
Global warming, I mean?
So Colorado is not a good measure of this by any means because it was completely...
Not good to set your put your money on?
Well, what I'm saying is Colorado's completely bipolar when it comes to the weather. Like, we were out there, it is completely sunny, clear skies, blue. The day we left the Rocky Mountains, we were looking in the rearview mirror, thunderstorm rolls in behind us. My mom sends me a photo the next day, snow.
Damn.
Everywhere.
So you could have got snowed in April in Colorado. Don't use that as your statistics, basically.
Yeah. So when it comes to global warming, climate change, all that stuff, like Colorado's, it's not.
Well, you can say the same kind about California too. I mean, I almost went to the snow for my birthday. Like people, Robbie said he got stuck up in Shaver delivering packages.
That was the next day.
What?
Yeah.
Dude,
Went
it's
from
full on snowing.
Crystal
Looks
blue
like
sky.
Christmas. Mm-hmm. So do you think things are warming up, or do you think that the weather is just winter's going longer, summer's going longer, and now they're just running into each other? Like one day we're going to be snowboarding during July because things are just shifting around, or they're going longer. They're kind of like moving in each other's paths. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good, fun question, and it's a hot topic right now: global warming, climate change, crisis, all this kind of stuff. So, I have two main thoughts on this. Number one is Earth, the planet Earth, moves in cycles on its own, with or without humans.
Yeah.
You have, when you go back to, the time of the dinosaurs, the planet was warmer. Dinosaurs nowadays wouldn't really thrive as well, and theoretically, because it's colder than what it was when dinosaurs were alive. They're cold-blooded. They need heat. So I think the atmosphere was like, on average, 2 or 3 degrees warmer than what it is now. If we're 2 or 3 degrees warmer on average right now, I think like everything dies.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We're also coming out of an ice age. Well, what does that mean?
Elon Musk is more worried about global cooling. You ever see that when he's on the, what's it called? The Something Boys. He's on that podcast.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm more concerned with global cooling, with Bill Gates wanting to cover the earth with clouds.
Yeah.
And then Trump said the same thing. He was at some press conference and he said it like, he like mumbled it. And they were like, what do you think about this and that? And he mentioned something about like freezing over. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he kind of just like stumbled over it. And I was like, what do all these guys know that we don't? Why did he just, like, he almost looked like he pulled back like, oh shit, I wasn't supposed to talk about that. Yeah.
Well, let's look at that kind of brings me to the second thought. Well, first, number one, Earth moves in cycles. Go hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. That's just the nature of the beast. Now, the second thing is we have crises all the time. Remember mad cow disease?
I call them money makers.
Remember mad cow disease?
Yeah. Remember Ovid?
Yeah. I mean, every single year, there's always been something.
Yeah.
Bird flu, swine flu, all those. There's always been some crisis. Now, people could go and be like, oh, the data's this, the data's that. Well, okay. The data shows what exactly? That we might be getting a little warmer. Yeah. Well, we just had a whole bunch of thunderstorms and it's still snowing, and it gets snowing summer.
Well, remember, it used to be global warming, and then like overnight it turned into climate change. Remember that? Remember it used to be global warming, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, today with climate change, and I was like, wait. They changed the name on us, and I didn't even notice it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that one study where they show you how many times Facebook logo has changed, but you never noticed it.
Yeah, but Damon,
and it's like,
it is 2024. We have to be inclusive. So what exactly? And like you have to define. Well, what is climate change?
Yeah,
changing the climate. Well, climate could
broad open.
Crime could be very broad. Now, do I believe in climate change? Yeah, I believe humans do impact climates.
Yeah.
They impact ecosystems. Specifically, the ocean.
Oh, I think we could speed shit up.
Speed shit up.
I mean, look at all the coral that's dying around those beautiful islands. It's like, it's from oil.
That's what I'm talking about. And then,
dead.
like, overfishing. Like, I think a lot of people are really concerned with climate change, global warming. fishing, overfishing the seas is
sonar killing all the whales and shit. I'm like,
lot
okay,
of
that's
even
real.
worse.
It's not a hoax. It's not a
Overfishing
conspiracy.
the oceans, I think, is a much bigger issue than global warming or climate change, or part of the climate change.
Yeah,
I think people are just kind of the crisis. There's a fad. People buy into it. How many of the crisis actually comes true? Now, I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
That'd be very foolish.
I used to think that whole sonar thing with the whales dying, I was like, oh, God. And then I looked into it. I was like,
it's
oh, shit. Like, if you look at the submarine patterns, the whales always die in that area.
Yeah.
Like, I used to think that was fake.
Well, if you're next to a submarine when it pings, like if you're under the water,
it'll kill you, right?
It blows your eardrums out because it's so fucking loud.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what it does to a whale.
Yeah, they're saying that happens to scuba divers. Mm-hmm. Like, scuba divers will, I don't know if it's real, but they'll, like, wash up in the sea in Australia and just eat blown out.
You don't want to be, I think, within, I'm
mile.
guessing here, but I don't think you want to be within like a mile of a submarine when it pings off. It fucks you up.
Yeah.
Like bad.
So there is some shit that's real.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, but like you said, though, I looked it up. I chat GPT'd it, even though we know now that
the demon.
Even though we know it can be a little
consulted the
biased
demon
and it'll show you Asian Vikings. I'm like, what are we doing? Or no, that was Google. That was Gemini.
Wait,
You never saw. Oh, hold on, off topic.
Time out. Asian Vikings. I'm down.
Asian Vikings, dude. So
You mean samurai?
Gemini, Google's ChatGPT, they were testing it, right? And some people were like, hey, show me awesome pictures of why the hell is this not wanting to cut? There we go. It was like, show me some awesome pictures of Vikings. Mm-hmm. Dude, it wanted to be all inclusive and it wanted to be fair. So what it did is it showed Black Vikings, Asian German Nazis, white
German
African
Nazis?
warriors. Dude, everyone was like, bro, what are we doing, Google? You don't have to program it to be that inclusive. And everyone laughed at it for like months, dude. Because it was like, show me a picture of this, and it would show you like different genetic variations, and it was like, dude, come on, what are we doing? Like, unprogram it, just let it show us Vikings or African warriors or whatever, without it being like an Asian African warrior or like a half white. Like, it was weird. But anyway, I can't remember what we were talking about before that.
2024, all inclusive, climate change, global warming.
So I even looked it up on ChatGPT because that's like my other source I use now. And I was like, show me times over the last 100,000 years where climate has changed. Greta Thunberg actually popped up because she said we were going to die last year.
Al Gore had some stuff to say about that.
He said we were going to be dead by 2020. Greta Thunberg had all those scientists that were like, yeah, in the next 5 years, if we don't make massive improvements right now and tax you up the ass to make all this change, we're all going to be dead in 5 years. Well, we should have been dead last year. So that's a perfect example I like bringing up when people go, you see people outside of Walmart yelling at each other with their picket signs, and one's like, no, it's all a hoax, which I don't think it's all a hoax. Like, I think we could speed shit up. And then you have other people saying, well, we're all going to die. And then you say, well, but what does taxing my business more money have to do with fixing the problem? because nothing's changing. The problem is not changing at all. But we need to tax more. And you guys all need to go green. And we'll give you a $35,000 tax deductible if you buy an EV car, even though we're going to get rolling blackouts.
Well,
What the fuck are we doing?
That's a distraction.
Yeah. It keeps us fighting. It keeps me and you not liking each other.
Keeps us looking this way while they're laughing this way.
Yeah.
And
while these people are collecting.
And real quick, speaking of laughing that way, according to Airport Technology, how bad are private jet emissions for the environment? So this is where we talk about...
You're talking about Swifty. Don't hate on Swifty, bro.
Hey, man.
You ever seen those?
No. Well, I saw something about that.
It shows where she goes in 1 month, and her private jet's just everywhere.
Yeah, I can't target Swifty. My girlfriend will kill me. So, no. But we can still talk about...
You got to dump her.
Easy.
Sorry.
Jesus. So what the irony is, when you have the World Economic Forum gathering the world's elites in Geneva, to talk about the future policies, science, basically the welfare of humanity, and the role that we play in conjunction with Earth, right? Mm-hmm. Like the connection. You have them all flying private jets there to talk about, climate change.
Yeah.
Well, the crux of the issue with private jets is that they have a dramatically higher carbon footprint per passenger than commercial alternatives, commercial being vehicles, buses, things like that.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that? Because think about how many planes fly per day. Mm-hmm. Private jets fly per day.
Yeah.
And some of those people just go from like LA to San Francisco for dessert.
Yeah.
Not saying who, but there's a really prominent, influential family that's had one of the longest running reality TV shows. They post about that every now and then.
Kardashians?
Maybe.
Oh, this will say it.
Maybe.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I forget his name.
I mean, I'd probably try it out, to be honest. I'd be like, hey, babe, let's go to England. Tomorrow,
dude, if I was that rich, I would be flying private everywhere too. Like if I had to have 5 business deals in 1 week, I'm flying to New York. I'm flying there. I'm flying back. Yeah. I'm making my 2 o'clock. I'm down to Florida. Like I get it, but you can't also be the person that says, we got to cut these vehicles and California has to be completely green by 2030. You think we're gonna change everything, and the politician making the stupid law is still flying private with 3 people on it? Dude, that a private plane, Google, I think like a private plane flying from California to New York is as much as like 100 cars driving for like 3 months or something. Like I'm probably wrong, I'm probably way off on that. But it is something like crazy like that. And so it's like, when you see Taylor Swift saying these things and politicians or celebrities like, oh, we need to go green as you fly in your private jet by yourself. Yeah.
I hate to bring her back up, but Taylor Swift is topping the CO2 emissions charts. She's literally topping it.
Bro. Oh my God. Her and Devil Gang Sign Flipper, what's her name? Ice Spice, they're just traveling the world, bro.
Yeah.
And those Boeings. Well, hopefully one of those Boeings don't go down.
Good for them. Well, do you know what that...
I'd be flying private.
I would be, honestly, I would be private too. I'm not hating. But it is ironic.
Yeah.
It is ironic.
But it's hard because, and then do you donate all of your money to an organization that's going green and fixing the planet? I'd be like, show me. Where's my money going? Are you putting big blimps in the air that are cleaning?
Do you know what?
Put a fucking air filter in here. Why can't you put one in the sky?
I've actually thought about that. I thought about getting a business going where you get a bunch of planes like propellers and you fucking just basically go attach something that it tows, like those banners?
They just float over the mountains away from everyone.
Basically trailing a giant tampon up there, just cleaning up the
Serious,
skies.
Bro. I'm telling you.
I've thought about that. I've literally thought about it. I was like, whoever can fix the pollution problem in the Central Valley, billionaire.
Yeah.
You're a billionaire.
Yeah. If you can catch it while it's coming from Sacramento and gets stuck in the valley, and you can clean dude, how many acres do we have just sitting off the 99 where we could just have huge blimps with huge air filters
just sucking it in? And
they have, because we're gonna get into it.
Yeah,
that's death patents, bro. Those are death patents.
Yeah,
can't invent that shit.
Yeah, but you're also preventing like about a lot of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you get taken out, because particle pollution is like one of the main or leading causes of like neurodegenerative diseases.
Oh yeah.
Like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, particle pollution.
Jim Quick was just talking about
stress. That. Yeah. So not being able to detox oxidative stress.
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
Like the number one reason for Alzheimer's. Wow. As I'm sitting here spacing out.
I know that's the second time this podcast. What was I doing?
Yeah. What was I doing? Yeah, pollution, dude.
Pollution.
Yeah, that's like the second major cause of Alzheimer's.
It's up there. I mean, your gut biome and stuff like that. But yeah, what you breathe in, you're toxifying.
Yeah, our filters are getting screwed up.
Yeah, you know those nuclear silos, like nuclear plants that it releases like the gas or whatever, like those big ones that you see in like The Simpsons, the big boom. I imagine building a bunch of those, but instead of releasing it, sucking air in, and you put 100 of them up and down. I mean, they're going to be ugly eyesores, so you have to make them like eco-friendly. Put a bunch of
You just make them look like a tree, like the 5G towers.
Yeah. So my girlfriend, she never noticed those, and I pointed them out. She goes, "What are those?" I was like, "Well, let me tell you.
You don't want to stand near that thing. See all the trees on the left side of it are dead."
Now she notices them everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, why didn't that's ugly? We have one in Tower District. It's just standing straight up. It's disgusting. It's hugely ugly.
Yeah, there's one right outside my parents' house now. This guy sold like an acre, and they let him put one there, and like the whole neighborhood's like, no, we don't want that shit here.
But do you know what's funny? I was talking to somebody, or no, I wasn't talking. I apologize. Don't let me lie. It was a post, and people were like, what can we do about this, like to clean the air? Like, how do we clean the carbon dioxide out of the air, the emissions, blah blah blah? And someone was like, plant more trees.
Dude, I was literally gonna say it, but I don't want to cut you off. There's this scientist who I think
the planet is designed to fix that.
So to climate people, I say, how do we keep cutting down more trees, but you're more worried about everyone driving electric vehicles, but the Congo, the Amazons, all the trees are gone. Isn't that what, like there's this plant, there's this picture from like space, I don't know, non-CG or CGI probably, like all the NASA ones. But it shows like the Congo like in the 90s and the 80s, it's just green, dude. It looks like something from Avatar.
Yep.
And now it's all brown and black because it's concreted, there's buildings.
Yep.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
It's all palm oil farms now.
So anybody watching this, you definitely, so there's 3 areas that are responsible for like 80% of the world's oxygen. Mm-hmm. You have the rainforest, does a really good job. You have
pretty good job. It's doing a pretty good job.
You have the timber, the timber forests north near the Arctic, that are you can't go log there because the snow will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But that area, I forget what the name of it's called, but that area north, especially like, well, not necessarily Alaska, but when you get into like over like Russia, those kind of areas, big giant tree forests for thousands of miles. Those produce a lot of oxygen. But the number one, unless my data's wrong, algae.
I've seen those. They look like like big ass like washers. Like
I mean, I've never looked under a microscope.
I've seen they're like these big glass, they're like these huge like they look like buildings. And it looks like a car wash inside of like a glass thing, but they're massive and they just turn all day long. And they're making like the algae is because it needs oxygen.
Yeah. So check this out. Despite, I'm not even gonna, if you want to pull this up. Yeah. So it is estimated that there are more than 1 million species of algae that are capable of producing oxygen. The most impressive algal species is no clue how to say that. Despite that, being the smallest photosynthetic organism, it produces the most oxygen in the ocean.
Damn.
So is
That's
more
impressive.
oxygen produced in ocean or on land? Scientists that roughly half that produced on Earth comes from the ocean. So roughly half. Majority from the oceanic plankton, drifting algae. So Yeah. So this goes back to the overfishing. This is why I feel that the fishing and destroying the oceans is going to have a much more bigger impact than kind of what we're doing on land. Don't get me wrong, what we're doing on land isn't the best, but the ocean.
Well, the ocean's a little bit bigger than how much
surface
land there is.
area, yeah. Surface area, yeah. Mass-wise, no.
Mm-hmm.
Mass-wise, no. So you have a lot of our food coming from the ocean.
Yeah.
Drinking water, all that stuff. I mean, well, that's obviously not drinking water, that's ocean, but you know, the oxygen. So if we deplete all the phytoplankton or we damage it to where it's not producing almost half of the oxygen we need, well, oxygen content's going to go down and we're not going to be getting as much oxygen. So what are the implications long term if you have a species on a planet that is getting, say, 25% of the oxygen that they need?
We gonna die.
We gonna die. Think about
we'll be like a bunch of floppy fish, dude. Just
think about kid development.
Are we gonna get smaller because there's less oxygen, like the dinosaurs did? That's my favorite one. The dinosaurs got smaller because there wasn't enough oxygen.
Actually, that's true. Oxygen
makes sense. Though,
oxygen levels back then, I think, were like double or triple.
Yeah.
Actually, I think would humans survive breathing that? I don't think we would.
We would adapt, and our mass would become greater, like Superman, right? Or am I totally off on that?
Mass-wise, no, because mass is density. So you could have
Americans got mass checked off. Like our mass is getting greater all day.
They got size. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we're not getting enough oxygen for our supersize me bodies.
Supersize me. Yeah. I think WALL-E's a really clear depiction of all the Pixar and Disney movies, whatever.
That shit's great.
I think WALL-E's probably the most accurate.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be oversized, stuck on screens, polluted planet.
Yeah.
Toxic.
I mean, it's not far away. You don't even. I used to laugh at that, but
there's places that we can't go right now, like Australia, the Sydney Harbor. Like you're not supposed to swim in that because it's so polluted.
Damn.
There's a movie that just came out about a couple that traveled to Australia for a wedding, and then throughout the whole movie they're conflicting because of a misunderstanding earlier in the movie. Mm-hmm. But during the shooting of the movie, they jumped into the harbor, and I saw an article that like people in Sydney were disgusted that they jumped. That's how people live there. Like, you guys,
like, why are you jumping in there, bro?
Yeah,
can't be doing that.
Can't be doing that.
Well, it's kind of like Monterey a couple of years ago. Remember when all the starfish and everything was dying out there?
Do you know
right after Fukushima and all that? Yeah, everyone was like, "Don't eat the salmon for a couple months."
Do you know what was also happening with Monterey? So back in, you remember CART in high school, Center of Advanced Research Technology? Casey Christensen and I, we were in the same environmental class, all about sustainability.
Dorks.
Yeah, we were terrorists, man. We were terrorists. They kept
said terrorists. I was like, Jesus.
No, we were terrorists. They had to separate us on numerous occasions. But anyways, we did an over-the-night camping trip in Monterey, and they taught us how to do a study with the little crabs. I forget what they're called, but they're little crabs that burrow down, where you go and you pull them out. Well, a lot of the wildlife and oceanic life and the ecosystems in Monterey over a while were decimated. And I forget what pesticide it is. I want to say it was like 5 something. But there was a pesticide that all the farmers in the area were using. Well, when it rained, that runoff would go into the ocean.
Like a food pesticide.
Pesticide.
Oh.
And since then, it's been banned.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. Food pesticide.
Banned. Maybe like Monterey, California.
Damn. That's intense. Yeah, I'm looking it up. Monterey, California has places. Monterey BT is oh, no, never mind. It's trying to sell me stuff. Oh, my God. But yeah, because I remember Alex Jones was, let me turn my phone down. Alex Jones was talking about something with Fukushima. There's other things in the water that they're hiding. And then he went out. He was actually in Monterey. Like, this is like whenever Fukushima happened, a long time ago. And he was out there because the news and all these people weren't doing their jobs. Mm-hmm. And he was like, there were all these locals out there, all these signs, but the news just didn't show up. Mm-hmm. And Alex Jones flew out here, killing everyone with his pollution. And he showed up, and he got news reporters out here, and they were like, Alex Jones is out here stirring up shit. And they were just like pulling up starfish. They were just dead. They're pulling up all the little... what are those little things that the mussels, the clams, everything that holds
Horseshoe
on?
Crabs?
All that stuff. There's like thousands of them just hanging on down there. The little clams and all that.
Yeah.
All just falling off dead. Like you could just pop them open because they were just dead.
Like mussels and
he was like, and right then, dude, I told Raven, I was like, we're not eating sushi. We're not eating anything Atlantic caught for at least the next 6 months.
Atlantic or Pacific?
Pacific, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But they also said it didn't matter though because... the salmon, as they're coming down, and the tuna, they're coming around Hawaii and they're coming up. They're like, all those fish are infected. And then they showed, there was another little documentary that showed these fishing places, and they were cutting off like the cancer and the tumors. Mm-hmm. And the news, they were like, no, you can't come in here. So Alex Jones cracked that shit open, and he was like, don't eat the fish for at least a year. Let all these die off because you guys are all going to get sick, dude. And they didn't. I was like, dude. They didn't do a damn thing about it.
To this day, because I've seen some stuff on salmon in the fisheries, and the fish are swimming in their own feces and all that stuff, eating it while they're...
That's better than cancer at that point.
Well, I mean, at any rate, I'm very like I don't eat salmon a lot. I love
Yeah.
salmon. I love me some grilled salmon, but just from what I've seen, I'm like, nah.
Well, because salmon's
Unless
a
it's
fresh
wild
fish,
caught.
and it can go both, though, right? So, like, it can go into a river, get a bacteria because it's warmer waters, and then it can go back out into the ocean. That's why a lot of people I know who are, like, sushi experts, they're like, I don't eat a lot of salmon because
Especially
they
if
can go
it's orange.
freshwater, and they can go out in the ocean, and then they can come back in and get, like, a disease from the warmer waters.
Yeah.
The tuna just stay out in the cold water.
Yeah.
So, and they're bigger. For some reason, there's something to do with that. Like, they're not like a bottom feeder.
Yeah.
Kind of like crab. I guess
Yeah.
crab is one of the worst things to eat because they're like
Crab and lobster.
They're
you
like
know what
crab
those
and
are?
lobster.
You know what those are?
They're the freaking like roaches of
They
the
are.
sea.
They are cockroaches. So how lobster?
They used to feed lobster to the prisoners because it was cheaper. In New York, they used to feed it to the prisoners.
Before it hit to New York, I believe lobster became popular in Chicago. Slaves used to pick it up off the shore.
Yeah.
And then somehow, some way, somebody was like, let's turn this into a delicacy.
You can't even pick clams in Pismo, dude. You can have like 5 and that's it. Or else everyone would go out there and you'd be picking these clams that are this big in the morning.
Oh, yeah?
You wouldn't have to go to any restaurants. You could just
See,
eat
and
clams at
that's
home.
what it's all going to come down to is the economy, like crashing the economy.
Don't collect rainwater and don't collect the clams.
And you can't harness free electricity, which we'll get into in a bit. But real quick, to answer this
I was going to ask you about solar. Keep going.
I know. I got it all set up. But before we get into that, you had a question earlier that less oxygen, would we grow smaller? According to askandearthspacescientist.asu.edu, about, and everybody do your own research, about 300 million years ago, there was an increase in oxygen levels to about 35%. We're about 21% right here, according to this one. Today's atmosphere is about 21%, give or take.
Thanks, Swifties.
During this time, animals such as insects often evolved to be larger. There were dragonflies the size of hawks.
So I was right.
So
I heard that somewhere.
So now, what about if humans were around that time?
It's like
We would have been giants.
What do we? Oh shit, bro! You keep taking me down these rabbit holes, bro. Why are you doing this to me? We're gonna start talking about the Book of Enoch and all this, bro.
I actually just started reading.
I was thinking of the movie Kong with Jack Black. Remember they go to the island and everything's massive.
Everything's massive. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's huge because when you have more oxygen, the plants are bigger, and then over time, the insects don't stop eating, and before you know it, they're huge. Mm-hmm. That was a good ass movie, dude.
It was.
Good ass movie.
I was a big fan of the hollow earth theory that they implemented in there.
Well, you know, hollow earth is real, right? There's islands inside the earth.
Well,
can you pull that up for me?
Real quick though, but if you think about it, that's not too far fetched.
Oh shit!
Because humans, we're on the Earth's crust, which is like less than 1% of Earth's mass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We only have visibility for like a little bit. Like now, go underground.
We've only seen like 30% of the ocean, dude.
Yeah.
Like
what's to say that there's not some giant cavern in the Earth's crust that is massive, and there's water and there's islands in it and there's life.
Well, have you seen the little island world that's under caves? It has its own it has its own ecosystem. It has clouds.
We have oceans under oceans, bro.
Have you ever seen that? It's somewhere in Thailand. Try Googling it. It's somewhere in Thailand, and it's its own world.
Oh, the cave.
They go under a cave,
yeah.
And you have to swim under the water, just like a movie, dude. Some Pirates of the Caribbean shit. And you come up, and it's got like a rainforest. It's got its own waterfalls.
Yeah.
It even has its own clouds, bro.
Yeah.
It's a world inside of our world.
This one.
Which one? Let me see.
This is the entrance. It's the Sans Dune cave.
Look at that cave. That's some Pirates of the Caribbean shit, dude.
Yeah, but it's real life.
That's real life.
So the ecosystem inside the Hang Song Dune is as unique as it is large.
In Thailand?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm good.
Own localized weather system, rare limestone caves, pearls, or scattered dried pools. Largest ever found, 260 stalagmites. Whoa.
Dude, pull those pictures up again. Look at that. It is a world inside of our world. Look at that, dude. What? I saw that on TikTok. Shout out TikTok.
Yeah.
Too bad they're trying to get rid of you.
No. So.
That is wild, dude.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
man.
crazy.
We got to go there.
I'd absolutely love to go there.
Let's go there.
It's beautiful.
No ladybugs,
Yeah,
though.
that's super interesting, though, because what you brought up about if there's less oxygen, would we grow smaller? Well, if there was more oxygen, we must have been bigger, so we're shrinking.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's interesting.
Obviously,
interesting.
Giants helped build the pyramids. All right, so let's talk about solar. Let's not go down. I saw your face.
According to the Bible, David and Goliath, so biblically it's accurate. And then,
according to the book of Enoch, the giants are the ones that came and
the Watchers
helped us build everything.
Well,
helped us
angels,
make steel.
Angels. Giants were the offspring, the unwanted offspring, according to the book of Enoch. Now, real quick, last side note: there was an Indian princess in Southwest North America, Native American Indian princess. She wrote a biography about giants that would always come and eat her people, red-haired giants. And she listed a cave. And then according to researchers, when they went and investigated the cave, they found hundreds of giants' bodies.
I got to see that.
Yeah. Let me see.
That sounds pretty dope.
Indian princess writes about...
Yeah, the Watcher Giants' associates who were confused by their dreams. The tablets reveal the meaning of their dreams and God's future judgment against them. Enoch also warned the giants about many things, but they remained stubborn. Yeah. But apparently, the giants actually, the crazy thing, I started looking into that. I want to do a deep dive next time. In the book of Enoch, I might mess this up. In the book of Enoch, a lot of the giants went under the ground during the flood. Mm-hmm. And that's where you see those humongous doors, like in India and parts of Africa, and even right here in our backyard, in the Grand Canyon, there's these creepy, weird shaped doors. They're perfectly shaped. Like it looks like if you were to push the middle, like it would fall in. And apparently that's where they hid because they came back up after the flood. Interesting shit, right?
Interesting.
But anyway, so I wanted to talk to you about solar because all this California shit is driving me crazy.
That was enough fun stuff on the beginning, but yeah, let's get into some.
We're going to go down giants next time.
We'll go around giants next time. Now, let's talk about some real world stuff. So, let's see. I've been in the solar industry for 4 years.
Did you have a pen? Give me your pen real quick.
In 2020. Actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I want this one, bro. That one's black.
All right.
In 2020, roommates and I, we were paying like $500-$600 a month. And keep in mind, that was 24 cents a kilowatt. Kilowatt is how...
Not including inflation?
Not including... Well, I mean, at this point, we'd already participated in inflation. You participate in inflation every year of your life. Mm-hmm. So when we went solar, we were paying $500-$600 a month at 24 cents a kilowatt. Today, in the solar industry, when I'm reviewing people's accounts, they're paying anywhere from 45 to 50, and on the high end, sometimes as much as 63 cents a kilowatt hour. Historically, it takes about 10 years for PG&E to double their rates. They've doubled in less than 4.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because right here I have a client. Their information, you can see right here, April, May, June, July, August. This is tied directly into their account. They use 10,000 kilowatt hours at $4,600 annual. Okay. Now, if you do the simple calculation right here, that's 46 cents for 1,000. Mm-hmm. That's $460 or so per 1,000 kilowatts. Gives them a monthly average of, say, $386, right there, almost at $400, right? Plus or minus. Yeah. High was $822 for 1 month.
Wow.
Here's the thing. I met with these clients 2 years ago, before you, when you moved forward with me. I met with them back in...
I got locked into some good shit. When I move, I'm going to lose all that.
You did. So, actually, I met with them, I think, 3 years ago in 2021. Their average bill wasn't $386. It was like $160, bro. They were under $200 a month. Now they're at $386 with the high of $800. They didn't have that.
Dude, I don't pay anything right now. It's going to suck when I move. I'm going to lose all that.
Now... Obviously, we're not going to go down like the whole solar thing, but this just shows how much people are paying and coming out of pocket for their energy.
Well, we were talking about this because with inflation on top of that, they've already done the Bidenomics number math, and they're saying now... Did we lose the camera? No?
No. It looked like it did for a second there.
They're now saying that if you made 120,000 last year, you now only make 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, dude, that's a lot of inflation when you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is insane. Those are insane numbers. And I was talking to you about the solar the other day, and then you were telling me this story, and I was like, how are we going to afford our bill one day?
Well,
like, are they pushing us into communism? Like, how does this work? I did the Trump hand. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I don't know. This is going to work. You're okay, PG&E.
So like, I can share this about PG&E. Mm-hmm. So there's three main things. Now, keep in mind, PG&E, we need them. Don't get me wrong, we need them. Because if the PG&E grid goes down in the state of California for more than a week, the whole state is going to collapse.
Oh, we're going to go down a rabbit hole on that one day. I want to talk about that.
In any case, there's three things. Mm-hmm. Number one is PG&E is subject to inflation and rate increases. Mm-hmm. Okay, so whatever's going on in the world, they have to outpace inflation for profit.
Well, they got to stay in business.
Exactly.
They got to stay. They have overhead too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that
I get
comes
that.
into the next couple reasons. They also have lawsuits.
A couple people died in Paradise.
They have lawsuits, and businesses don't like to take anything out of the profits.
Yep. Which makes sense. I get that.
Yeah. Number three, they had a multi-billion-dollar project approved by the CPUC to take all the top lines for power lines, and then they have to put them underground. I think it's almost just short of 3,000 miles.
They're doing it everywhere.
Mostly in the fire zones. Mostly
everywhere.
Mostly in the fire zones.
Yeah.
So there's that. So those are three huge reasons.
All the new neighborhoods.
And not
there's no power lines. It's all underground.
But they're relaying the ones in the fire zones because of lawsuits and all that, right? And then the fourth one, you said they have overhead as a business.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker.
They got some nice trucks, dude.
But
Someone's got to pay for that shit.
Here's the kicker. They released their profits from last year. Oh, their fifth one. Sorry, there's five big ones. Mm-hmm. They're an investor-owned utility company, so they have to turn a profit for shareholders. Mm-hmm. Do you know what their profit recordings were for the end of last year? Profit.
Profit.
After everything's said and done.
30% gain profit on everything.
$2 billion.
Ooh.
Dr. Evil, $1 billion, gazillion.
Damn, that's a little more than 30% profit then on whatever they're doing out there.
Yeah. Do you know what you could do with $2 billion?
You could make energy free.
You could do a lot. You
could release those Tesla documents.
They'd probably pay off the FBI.
Or you could take out the next guy who's trying to release those documents.
You could do a lot with $2 billion. You could also give a lot of money back to the people.
Yeah. You could make my solar free.
Yeah. I mean,
if it's all going back to PG&E anyway. And you know what's crazy? How does PG&E keep increasing when more people are getting solar? Because I'm pretty sure you've sold like half the Valley Solar by now. Our energy goes back to them and then comes back to us. So it's like our houses are working for them now, but everyone's bills keep going up. I don't understand that.
So
it's like, I don't get that.
So
because they're using my house during the day.
So that's the big reason. That's one of the biggest reasons why they shifted from NEM 2 to NEM 3. Energy metering is simply the buyback program at which the big utility companies will purchase your excess energy off of you. So if you produce 15,000 kilowatt hours, but you only consume 10, you have a net profit or leftover 5,000. Well, if you don't have a battery, PG&E is not a storage facility.
Gotcha.
This is where people have to understand PG&E. They are a manufacturer.
Yeah.
And they provide a service of distribution and transportation.
Yeah, that energy is constantly being used up if you don't have a battery.
Right? So you can imagine what those grid lines look like if you could see electricity. That electricity is shooting every which way, all day, all night, nonstop.
Yeah.
Well, California Senate Bill 100 passed, so people have to go solar, or at least purchase or get their electricity from some renewable energy source, whether you're producing on site or you're buying it off an energy farm in the very near future.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with all that energy going on, they're predicting what's going to be happening. Well, we could barely sustain on PG&E. I'm guessing. This is my understanding. On PG&E, I have 100-year-old grid line technology, and I can't sustain this. We already have blackouts as it is. Yeah. What happens when more people go solar and they're sending all this energy back to the grid. Well, they collaborated with the other two heads of the big utility companies.
I would think things would get better.
San Diego, and Southern California Edison. They approached CPUC. They're like, hey, this isn't working. These are our predictions. So now we want to incentivize everybody to get batteries. So then NEM 2 dies, NEM 3 comes into play, and now everybody needs a battery when they go solar under NEM 3 so you can protect and harness energy on site. Mm-hmm. That's going to reduce sending a lot of energy back to the grid, hopefully sustain the grid a little bit better. That's like a super cut and dry version of what
I should have got a damn battery when you were hooking mine up.
You can still do it.
I'm going to wait till I move because I got big plans in my next move.
Wait. Yeah, but if you need a battery,
full off the grid, bro. I'm going to need like 6 batteries pretty soon. But that's the part that's always confused me because we got more solar going up, but I guess you're right. It's constantly being used though. More people are being added, but it's constantly going back and forth. But if you have that battery, that's when you really offset things because now you're using that battery at night. Now you're not using PG&E at all.
You're skipping peak hours mostly.
Yeah.
And peak hours. Yeah.
I got to get my cousin in here. He has worked for Josh.
Yeah.
He's worked for so many different. He's worked in PG&E in so many different areas, and he was explaining to me one day because I was like, "Yeah, PG&E, this and that, and lawsuits, and this is bullshit." And he was like, "Actually," he goes, "PG&E wants to build more
energy farms.
Energy farms. They want to keep building. California limits them." He goes, it's not something about PG&E like you said. He goes, it's not PG&E that's like, oh, we only want to contain this much energy, so we have to have rolling blackouts, or we have to turn your power off so it doesn't all overheat the grid, right? I go, why don't they just build more? That's their fault. He goes, actually, they get penalized for pollution. Going back to the whole climate thing. Mm-hmm. Well, we got to save the planet. Well, then we're going to limit PG&E on how many stations they can build because that runs on diesel. Well, now we're getting blackouts, and now people at home with CPAP machines are going to die, and during the summer your power has to go out. Well, just allow them to build more power stations. Well, they can't because California, Newsom says you can't. We're going to limit you, or you're going to pay a lot of money for everything that you're overusing. So he was like, really, it's not PG&E's fault. They're pinched by the state of California because they don't want penalties. They don't want to pay all the extra money for all the bullshit that they're, the power that they're using or whatever. So then it hurts us. At the end of the day, it always hurts us. Whether we sit here and bicker about climate or whatever it is, it's like when you really look back and you go back in history, it's like, okay, how did this happen? Who even set this law? Mm-hmm. Is it PG&E? Is it this person? Is it that person?
Which corporations lobbied for what?
We're mad at the wrong person.
Yeah, that would say... I mean, I'm 32. You're 33.
Yeah.
I mean,
34. Holy shit.
You're 34.
Just turned 34. Bro. I'm not in my 33 prime year anymore.
Damn. No, you're approaching like 34, 35. Damn, bro, you old.
Holy shit,
bro. It's all right. I'm going bald in the back of my head, anyways.
I'm starting to lose it right here.
But the reason why I bring that up is because you and I both know from living through September 11th and all these controversies and conspiracies. Like that's what, boom, like blew off, right?
Yeah.
We're always mad at the wrong person.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And to touch on that, I actually don't believe, the more I'm in this industry, I don't believe PG&E is necessarily the bad guy. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's some evil corporation like blah, 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 trying to do this, trying to do that. I think when you're responsible for like 16 million people every day in their electricity. And
no one's going to be happy.
In the grid for one of the like highest economical regions of our country.
Yeah.
You have a lot of eyes looking at you.
Yeah.
From every direction. Maybe they do some things that we're not going to understand. Well, we don't have the attention that they do. Now, I'm not defending PG&E at all. I love PG&E. Don't get me wrong. Like, I do.
I like using my microwave. I'm not hating.
They supply me with energy. They give me a good reason for people to go solar.
I like when my air conditioner comes on.
The more they go up, the more people go solar.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things, man. But at the end of the day...
I like electricity.
Hip hop anonymous. That's Big Daddy. Great movie.
Hell yeah.
But at the end of the day, when we go back to some conspiracies, it's like, should we even have to be paying for electricity?
Should we even be running on diesel or fossil fuels at all?
I don't know the answer to that question, but according to Nikola Tesla, the electricity model, though,
Yeah.
the ether, all that's around us, electricity should be free.
You hear that thing flying over us right now?
Pollution.
Polluting my brains. Polluting my brains
Emissions,
right now.
Emissions, brother. Emissions.
See that?
Yeah.
It's like they knew it. They were like, shh.
Yeah, it's the government trying to get a cameo on the podcast.
Well, it's interesting. You follow Stephen Greer.
He's an interesting character, man.
He says energy should have been free in the 1700s, dude.
Long time ago. So
1700s.
Speaking of that, pull up this one on my screen.
Which one do you got?
So
your screen. Dog.
What? Yeah, thank you. So I haven't done too much research into this, but some people are saying they're claiming that all these old ancient structures were built this way so they could harness electricity back in the day.
Right out of the air.
Well, there's that.
They say that's what that big Tesla
thunderstorms and stuff like that.
That big Tesla spear-looking thing, it pulled electricity right out of the air. You ever seen that thing, that big box that pulls water out of the air?
Yeah, Tesla coil.
And it drips water. That guy in like Africa or something, or no, the guy in Texas.
What?
There's this big box he created, and it just sits out in a field, and it just drips water all day long.
Were you talking about real quick? Were you talking about that? The Tesla coil?
Yeah, but he has big ones that were going to be out in the middle of fields. They're humongous. They're huge, and there's like a row of them, just like kind of like how we have, like the electricity lines. That's what his were like. His were just going to be these massive. They look like something from Men in Black, dude. It's crazy.
Men in Black is based off reality, not fiction, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Flat Earth. Remember that part? People believe that the Earth wasn't flat, blah, blah, blah. That one messed people up.
Do you know it would be a huge plot twist? Maybe at one point, like, what if Earth was flat and then something happened where we, like, turned into a sphere? No one, I don't think, has brought that up. Maybe. Or maybe we were round and we snapped and we just folded out.
Or what if Will Smith just slapped the shit out of
the planet and then
keep my wife's name. Yeah. Damn, that sucks, dude. That was my favorite guy, man. Anyway. So Stephen Greer talks about, he was on the PBD podcast.
Patrick Bet-David podcast.
Shout out to the Iranian. But he was saying, because he's got all this information on UFO technology. Him and some other guy that was on Joe Rogan. I can't remember his name. He actually worked like Area 51. But Dr. Stephen Greer.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Where he was talking about all the technology that we had in the 50s. We had to lock up.
He was like, it didn't come from up there. It was already in the planet. It came from down there.
Yeah.
The abyss.
There's a movie called The Thing.
The Thing?
The Thing.
Never saw that one.
There's an old horror movie from, I think, late 70s, early 80s with Kurt Russell. Antarctica expedition. They find a spaceship. In the spaceship, they find this giant monster frozen in ice. They pull it out.
Have I never seen this?
They did a remake of it.
Sounds kind of like Alien.
Yeah. And it's The Thing. And what The Thing does is it's a parasite. And as long as there's one cell alive, it can infect a host and take over the host. So what The Thing did, and it absorbs your memories and everything. It could become you.
It's AI.
But organic, right?
Yeah.
But what The Thing did is the parasite got a hold of this alien, took over its spaceship, crash landed on Earth, and then starts terrorizing this group of researchers down there.
Yeah.
But back to your point.
But because Stephen Greer, he's like Stephen Greer talks about alien technology. Aliens have been here. We have contracts with them, all this stuff, right? It sounds wild. But then then he goes, because I don't care about that. He goes, we've known about aliens. We've known about things that have been here forever. He goes, we've been reverse engineering anti-gravity ships. I mean, look at the Nazis. There's like old 1940 footage of these UFOs hovering. He goes, I'm past all that. He goes, there are aliens. There's multiple species. We have intergalactic galaxy councils that make decisions just like America does. He goes, I don't care about any of that. He goes, the crafts that they fly around in don't use, or they're anti-gravity, non-fossil fuel, infinite energy crafts. He goes, that's all I care about. He goes, we should have free energy. He goes, Nikola Tesla, Charles Pogue, Tom Ogle, all these people have already created these, like, there's like pictures of it, man. It's from like the 1700s. It's a box with like these copper coils, and then it has a copper coil that goes this way, and then it has like these two mechanisms that spin from each other like magnets. And you put that behind a building, and they go, that will power a building for 20 years. You turn it on once, and it just, the energy going in is what gives it out, like AC versus DC. And then the energy going back is what powers it. He goes, you would have to replace a coil every 30 years. It's not even connected to the grid, basically, right? So that's all he cares about.
So to touch on that, pull this up. So people understand like what we mean by coils and stuff. This is the guy that does a homemade coil. So that's super glue. That's a magnet. So he has 1, 2.
Look at that shit.
He has 6 magnets around a copper coil. Super glue.
Look at that.
So he's got a transformer box. He's just going to plug in some wires. This is no different than the electricity that's how you plug into your house. It's
he's wires, just at home.
Transformers. He's at home.
He's not at MIT.
So what he's doing right there, that's a motor. And when he flicks this, and these magnets, because magnet is going to be infinite propulsion.
Yeah. It's just going to spin and spin and spin and spin forever. It's never going to stop.
Create free electricity right here.
Electricity.
So he spins it, gets the magnet going, motor's running, plugs light in.
Look at that.
That's free electricity right there. And that's not pulling anything out of the air. This isn't like some magic.
So why can't you hook that up to the outside of your house to power your home?
Because PG&E...
Dude, how much does a bulb really use?
Because PG&E will lose billions.
Yeah, they'd probably take our ass out.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually want to do this science experiment at my house.
Dude, this makes me want to do this with my kids at home.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you flick that, like, there's light for your room right there.
Buy a little Amazon kit, do it yourself. Yeah, look at that. That doesn't look that crazy, dude.
And you could make some big boys.
Let's put a motor on it.
You could make some big boys. Now, the question is, how do you stop it once you start it?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm sure if you could do that, some guy at MIT could figure out how to stop it. You know what I mean?
Well, if you had the magnets that pull up close, and then you just maybe separate the magnets so the magnetism pull slows, and eventually.
Yeah.
The only thing I could see that might mess that up is like, because that's 1,000 revolutions like per second. It looked like. I mean, that's not real, but
yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna run out of lube, dude.
Well, yeah, but
how do you keep lubing that thing?
That's what I'm saying.
How do you keep it wet?
So check this out.
What you got?
So there is. The next time somebody wants to argue with you about global warming or climate change, or we need to do this, or you need to stop driving your diesel truck, or you whatever it is, right? Tell them to look up Dr. Stephen Greer. Tell them to look up Charles Pogue, the Canadian mechanic, Tom Ogle, Stanley Meyer, and basically these are just a few people. There's so many other people. Like Charles Pogue was a Canadian mechanic in the 1930s. He's the one that had the carburetor that, like with a pint of gas, it went over 200 miles. Pint of gas, 200 miles on a car. He tinkered with the carburetor, right? And which basically, literally in 1936, he crashed the oil stock market in Canada.
Whoa!
It got out to the public. It got out into the public.
He got offed.
He's one of the guys that didn't, but everyone else did. He disappeared. Man. He was smart. So
I gotta go.
He was like, I'm out. Like he sold his stocks. He's like, I'm out of here. So he crashed the market in 1936, which everybody dumped immediately because they thought this is a new trend. Oil's gonna be out of here, right? So his shop literally, within a couple of weeks, was broken into, everything stolen,
gone.
Everything gone. I bet you they left him a little note that's like,
we are not the FBI.
Yeah. FBI did not do this, and we will not kill you if you come back. And then but that's not hard. Carburetors can be, it's not complicated. Carburetors that can be redone a few years later.
Yeah.
So 1970, Tom Ogle made an engine run off of its own fumes just by screwing around with the lawnmower on accident. He was a tinker or genius guy, but it happened on accident. So he, on accident, was tinkering with a lawnmower, something with a hose he put into something else. He took it off, and it ran off of fumes. And off 1 little gallon of gas, or like off a half a gallon of gas, he noticed that his lawnmower ran for 96 hours. And he was like, wait a minute. So he tinkered with an old like Ford Explorer. And he was like, if I can do it on that, then I can do it on this. I'll just switch the hoses. I'll put this here. I'll do that there. Whatever he did, right? Well, some time goes by. It's all in the news.
What's this guy's name? Sorry?
Tom Ogle. The Air Force gets involved. They hear about it because Shell offered him $25 million, and he shut it down because they were just gonna put it on the shelf, basically. So he was like, "Nah, I'm good." The Air Force says, "Oh, we'll buy it from you." He goes, "Nah, I'm good." Well, he was shot outside of a bar with no suspects. He didn't die the first time, but he overdosed at a friend's house, even though he had no drug background. And then Stanley Meyer. We've all heard of Stanley Meyer. Stanley Meyer is the dude all over YouTube. His videos are still on YouTube. He's the guy that made the car that runs on water. And everyone was like, oh, well, in like the 1700s, I think they already did it, but it had to be like very purified water, which is hard to get. It takes a lot of energy. And so, but his was just off tap water. He was like, you could put 3 water bottles in here, and he drove halfway across the country on like 4 gallons of water, basically. And so Stanley Meyer, he didn't need gas at all. So, the oil industry is not going to come down on you because in the 70s, that's when America and Saudi Arabia were like, hey, we agree that the US dollar is what we're going to purchase oil with, right? So he was like, well, we don't need oil. I got water. And our backyard in the ocean, we got a lot of water. And so he used a technology called electrolysis, basically electrolysis, which is where electricity splits water and oxygen to make hydrogen gas. Nerd. You know what the crazy thing is, though? This was already done in the 1700s. Electrolysis was done in the 1700s, dude. 1700s. I don't even think you could take pictures of it back then by a guy named Jan Diamond. So when people say, well, global warming and blah, 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 and fossil fuels, dude, we should have free energy. We shouldn't be using oil at all. That's what people should be arguing about. They shouldn't be sitting here going, well, if you don't use your car 30% more of the time, or if you just bought a Tesla, fuck that. Look up Stan Meyer. Go fight for that. Go with your signs outside the Capitol building and yell about this shit. Because there's all these people that have already proven we don't even need oil. We don't even need fossil fuels. There's so many people that can take a freaking copper wire and a battery and some magnets. You know what I mean? And if you just put that on a big, large scale, if you turn this room into that little do-it-yourself project,
not even that.
I bet you would run this whole block.
If you've got this, if you look behind you, it's actually a really good example. Yeah. You could put a giant sphere, probably multiple concentric spheres.
Yeah.
Inside each other that would revolve around.
Yeah.
And then send that energy out. Yeah.
This little back behind me. If you put some big old copper over there and a battery and a magnet over there, and this thing was spinning, you put some things to cool it down, bro, I bet you would run this whole block. Real quick
disclaimer: we're saying don't do this, sorry. We're not saying do that.
I am perfectly happy and not suicidal. I'm just going to say that right now.
But you're not kidding. When did electrolysis begin? In 1785, a Dutch scientist, Martin von Marum, created an electrostatic generator.
Damn, I'm good.
That he used to reduce tin, zinc, and antimony from their salts using a process later known as electrolysis. Interesting.
Yeah. So really, when you think about that,
250 years.
250
years.
250 years, dude. When are we told electricity was invented? When was electricity invented? Because, dude, they were splitting water electrode molecules, breaking thermodynamic laws in the 1700s, bro. Ford had the first wasn't the first Ford Model T electric? It wasn't even gas powered. But J.P. Morgan and his boys were like, "Hey, I already bought all this copper. We're about to run the oil business. You guys can't screw this up. Tesla's got to go."
All right. So we have to clarify something so we don't look like an idiot on this.
I already do.
When was electricity invented? Well, electricity's been around forever. Mm-hmm. Lightning, static, okay? Mm-hmm. Atoms, electricity, electronic bonds.
Yeah.
Now, when did we first use electricity? It wasn't until the 18th century.
When did the light switch come on?
About 18th century. The light bulb. We want to talk about the light bulb is what we want.
Benjamin Franklin is credited with discovering electricity in 1752. When were we splitting water molecules? 1750. Dude, this is all around the same time.
Around the same time, yeah.
All the same time.
And then Thomas Edison, although that's blah, that's a controversy. Thomas Edison.
Yeah. So all this was happening. So
1880s.
Early 1800s. Dude, you're telling me this is as far as we've gotten? You're telling me that my truck is not that much different from a truck 100 years ago. You're telling me that while you're over here fighting about climate change and going green, and you should be driving electric, and you shouldn't be, even though your Tesla charges on a diesel station, why aren't we talking about this, dude?
Well, Damon, because that's what's on the news.
It's crazy, dude.
I think a lot of people are fighting the wrong things.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people. Anytime I'm talking to someone about, well, climate and pollution, I just say, I'm just like Stephen Greer, dude. Get out of my face.
Yeah.
Get out of my face.
And this is an honest question.
Stanley Meyer, get out of my face.
Yeah, and this is an honest question everybody should ask themselves and be truly truthful is, how much research do I actually do on this subject?
30 seconds TikTok. I know everything.
Do I get it from social media, or do I go and read articles? Do I actually read up on these people? Like, for instance, Stephen Greer. Read on his life. What has he done? What has he built? What has he founded? He's actually one of the leading researchers in UFOlogy.
He worked under the Clinton administration, and
he's been in the government.
Part of the White House.
He's been there. He knows people.
Clinton's got a bad rap now, but back then, Stephen Greer was like part of that whole technology thing. He's even got 2 things on Netflix.
Bro,
amazing
we can't
videos.
make it a podcast without bringing up the Clintons, can we?
I know. I think every time.
I thought we were gonna make it now,
he
and
gets
then it just
brought up.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's either him or Hillary. One of them gets brought into it.
But in all honesty, it's like, how much research do you actually do on a subject? Like, okay, climate change, you're a big advocate against it. Okay, give me facts, give me statistics. But you also, and this is something I learned in college. As much as you learn in one way of why something is an issue, you need to do the exact amount of research on the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Your belief can be geared towards one-sided, but you need to understand and investigate both sides of the argument to really discover which way you need to lean.
Yeah.
Or where your belief really is. Don't do it because your friends did it. Don't do it because your parents did it. Research and actually ask the question, what do I actually believe in? And is this right? Is this righteous?
Yeah.
Is this good for the good of mankind? Because also, to eat my own advice, maybe the FBI harnessing some of this energy or this technology is a good thing. Because we are very cold.
Maybe if we don't have jobs and everything's free, we just go to mushy shit.
Maybe we're not supposed to
I've thought
have
about
free
that too.
energy.
I've thought about that.
Because
communism doesn't work.
We're very cold dependent. We're very gas, fossil fuel dependent.
We're lazy.
If we rip that out real quick, what happens?
Yeah. Well, and then, so real quick, you ever seen that guy? He's some politician, and he asks all these professionals about how much carbon dioxide is in the air, and it's like 0.04. Like, because if it goes over that, we all die, right? And they're like 5%, 12%. He's like 0.0. He's like, you guys. He's like, none of you know what you're talking about.
Dude, he did that at the World Economic Forum.
When I ask scientists all the time, no answers on how we are producing this climate change.
Oh shoot! Let me start it over.
Billions of dollars. Nobody wants to answer that scientifically. It's an easy question. 5 minutes on Google. 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. Carbon dioxide is 0.04%. Of that, what percentage comes from percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Anybody want to answer?
Listen to their answers.
Nobody wants to answer that.
Oh, there's a different one where they're all way off, like double, triple numbers, and he's like 0.04%. 4.
Yep.
And they're
I've seen
like,
that.
he was like, and you guys are all experts telling us what we can and can't do and all that. Oh shit, hold on. Your battery died. We are live. Anyway, so yeah, it's crazy. Even the experts don't know. And we're over here fighting and yelling at each other and how dare you and all this shit. You know, it's like they don't even know.
Now, let's do a little bit of like how that rabbit hole goes.
Yeah.
Experts say or suggest X, Y, and Z. Now, don't get me wrong, not all experts are invalid. But in this case, in that case, they definitely are.
Yeah.
So you have people that inform media then broadcasts it. And we all know the media likes to spin the worst stories ever because negativity fuels like views.
It bleeds,
right?
it leads.
Bleeds, yeah. But then that is what the thought then is then transferred to the population of the people. Fight for a cause.
No one does the
People
research.
like to fight for causes, and then they don't do their research, and then X, Y, and Z. Because if everybody starts doing their research, then they would actually see the cobalt mines in Africa and how damaging those are.
But then you have division and teams and then chaos. And then me and you are fighting each other instead of pointing the gun at you and going, why aren't you doing anything about this? What did you do with my $24 billion in taxes? Oh, you sent it to Ukraine. No one cares about that. We're just going to keep fighting each other.
Yeah.
And the kids in Africa dying.
Yeah.
That shit's wild, dude.
Yeah.
That shit is insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of...
Who's that guy on Joe Rogan who got all the footage? He like risked his life.
For what was going on in Africa?
Yeah, remember that Indian dude? He got in there just like one of those crazy movies. What was that old movie with The Rock where like they're all like digging for gold and
The Rundown.
The Rundown, dude, it looked just like that.
Yeah, that's
but
what
it's real.
I think that's when Rock was in his prime acting, bro.
Oh yeah, he's pretty gay now. Sorry.
Puffy Party.
Did he get diddied? He already said he's like, I'm not running for Biden anymore. I messed up. Things are not getting better.
He clarified that. Yeah. Did he really? Because he called out Trump pretty bad.
Pretty hard, dude.
He did the whole, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
That's Batman's voice. I can't do The Rock, but where are you?
Yeah. Well, remember him, Biden, and Kamala were on like an Instagram 3-way thing. And Kamala's just sitting there laughing. He's like, so the country. And Biden's like, in 1937, ice cream wasn't. And he's like, oh shit. He kept like looking over at someone like, oh shit, this is not good.
Yeah. He was approached to run for presidency.
I wouldn't vote for him.
I wouldn't vote for him either.
Nah.
Something tells me he's got...
I used to think he was like outside of Hollywood. I don't think so anymore. He was like a Keanu Reeves guy to me. Like, dude, he's so big. You can't tell him what to do. He's like a Joe Rogan. He's like a Keanu Reeves. He got bought out.
I feel like he's got ties with China.
Oh yeah, yeah. Him and what's his name? Remember John Cena?
John
was
Cena
like apologizing.
When he had spoke perfect Mandarin in that
perfect
video.
Mandarin and apologized for mentioning that. What was it?
Something about Korea was a country.
Korean people.
It said like Korea is a country.
Yeah.
And that set people off in China.
And what people don't realize is that certain Asian cultures they look at other Asian cultures less than dog.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Like, they don't see them as people.
No. You want to talk about racism?
If America wasn't here, China would have wiped out. Is it Vietnamese or Korean? One of them. They'd be like, we don't even see you guys as people, bro.
So I don't know the culture like in its fullest and like the differences.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend is full Vietnamese, and she had kindly let me know that there is a certain group. I'm not gonna say which one because I don't want to start anything in the comments or nothing. But there is a certain group that like all Asian countries that like you are the bottom barrel.
Who is it?
You might not even be in the barrel. I'll tell you after. We went to school with a lot of them.
Oh, you want me just to say it?
It's your I mean,
well, I know what you're talking about now.
I can't validate it.
A lot of Asian cultures I've heard too. I know you're talking about. They don't see Hmong people on the scale.
On the scale, on par.
They don't. Well, it's just kind of like, I mean, if you ask like Koreans how they feel about Japanese or whoever, like they've all got beef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's even that really hilarious Netflix show right now called Mr. Kim's Shop. He's like a Vietnamese older dude. Bro, my bad. It's actually Kim's Convenience on Netflix. And He's a Korean dude. They live in Canada. They have like a little convenient, like a little 7-Eleven store. And he's always talking shit about the Japanese. And so me and Raven one night were like, you know what? The John Cena thing. I have Japanese family members that are always talking shit about Koreans or Vietnamese or what. I'm like, you guys all have beef. They all, because there were certain wars. Like I think this country was supposed to back up this country, but they didn't. And then these people went to battle with those people, and these people took over this little island. There's all this beef. And then a lot of them don't see Hmong as like on the higher scale, you know, like Chinese people.
They're like a countryless people kind of thing, from my understanding. I don't know how accurate that is. If somebody else can like chime in on that, give like a brief detailed history of what was going on. But a lot of us, especially in America,
we like Asian women, and if you've dated Asian women
like us.
They like us. And when you've been to a few barbecues, whether it's Filipino or Japanese or Chinese or Hmong, as soon as everyone gets a little drink in them, they get a little sake in them. I don't know why you're dating a Vietnamese. You shouldn't be mixing with the Chinese. You know how they. And I'm like, damn, you guys all hate each other.
My girl, their family, they crack up like, damn, this white boy.
Yeah,
you're so white.
And are you just like, you guys are racist?
They're not. They're crack jokes, and I take it as camaraderie and fun because it's bullshit. It's shit.
You should have came off as like a super like liberal type dude.
Oh my god!
And now them like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, Alex. I didn't
They're not
mean
the
it.
family to do that. They would have dug in their heels and they would have killed. They would have wrecked my ass.
Hell yeah!
So thank God I didn't do that
like
as a joke. They would have brutalized me pretty.
I like that.
Yeah. But even if like if you look into, so as Americans, we obviously study American history, American wars. Independence War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, like the major ones, right? Mm-hmm. But if you go back and look at the wars in between all the Asian countries, it is brutalizing. And there's one specific incident called the Rape of Nanking.
Everyone thinks just America's racist, bro. The whole world hates other people in the world.
It's in.
Go to the Middle East. If you're Sikh, if you're Indian, like, dude.
Do you know what it really is, though?
Each other.
I mean, race is a huge part of it, but most people confuse a lot of the racism for culture.
Yeah.
It's mostly a culture issue. It's not most of a race issue.
It's all culture, dude.
I know black cowboys, and they talk shit on
I know
other
white
black
guys
like,
that listen to hip hop and wear Nikes, and I know black dudes and I know Asian dudes that all look and dress the same. Bro, it's all about culture.
Yeah. But and it's
There's
also
no race.
In deeper than that. It's a human thing. It's a characteristic of being human. And the Rape of Nanking, it's obviously it's terrible.
Yeah.
But if you go look at what the Japanese did to the Chinese, the Rape of Nanking, you will like, dude, I can't believe people are capable of doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
It is brutal. And then you see what the Russians did, which Russia's in Asia.
Well, look what Russia is doing to Ukraine. They look exactly the same.
Right.
But it's culture.
But if you see what the Russians, which kind of a white person, Eastern European, what they did to other white people in Berlin at the end of World War II with the Iron Curtain, they raped like 2 million women following the end of World War II.
Well, dude, watch Gangs of New York. All the Irish people that came in, they were hung, dude. They got off the boats and they had to hide. They had to scatter.
You gotta lose that accent right quick, Mike.
Dude, redheads coming off the boat. That was that was pure Australian.
That was pure Australian.
That was good.
My dialect.
I could imagine the butcher with an Australian accent, mate. Come on, get this.
That's terrifying.
Come and get these. Let me get you slashed up, mate. Just a butcher running around with this fake eye with an Australian.
This is great right there.
Yeah. These are butchers. These are big cleavers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all culture. The whole racist thing blows my mind. That we're still not past that.
Well, that just goes back to what the media is doing. It just whatever that media stirs that pot, the climate change, the racism, and I said it earlier. I think people are just really focusing on the wrong issues.
Yeah.
Bigger issues. We've already talked about it all the way back in the day. Child trafficking. Paying for stuff we're not supposed to be paying, taxes.
Alex, the building the wall is racist. All this. All right, let's meet in the middle. And how about the 80,000 kids that have gone missing?
Back to that, yeah.
Because there's no wall now. Because we're letting everyone in. Like, okay, the wall is racist, but there's also 80,000 kids missing because the wall is wide open right now. Can we somehow meet in the middle, maybe? Maybe see who's coming into the country. Maybe make sure that kid is, that is his parents and they're not just being left.
How do you verify that, though? If you're coming from Mexico.
That's what I'm saying.
And you don't even have documentation that you're Mexican, let alone that this is your kid.
Yeah. Oh, even Mexico. People are getting dropped off in Mexico. Mexico's kicking them out.
Damn.
People are getting shipped off to these other countries. These other countries are like, you better turn that boat around, bro. We don't know who these people are. We can't screen them. We don't know if they're terrorists. We don't know how many of these kids are kidnapped and they're going to be sex traded on our continent. Go home. And America's like, come on over here because we need new workers in the future. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get your vote and then you're screwed and you're going to pay taxes like everyone else.
But Damon, do you know what a bigger issue is?
Climate.
If you should buy an EV or not.
Have you seen the Cybertrucks around town?
They got recalled.
I saw that because Tesla, I hella wanted one and now I don't want one anymore.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Was it 100% recall?
I don't know. Apparently they're rusting. And you have to look. Yeah, there's a lot of it's news bullshit too. Because I saw one the other day that says something about the doors didn't work, and at the bottom it was like 4 of them. I was like, oh my god! I just read this article for 20 minutes and it was bullshit. Apparently they're rusting. Apparently they don't get 500 miles like I thought they were. So I'm probably not going to buy one anymore. But then here's the other issue. I saw one the other day at Home Depot. I went up and I looked at it. My kid was pumped. Right? It was already wrapped, matte black. It looks sick. I go up to it and I look at the hood. And as I'm looking at the hood, it's not very it's not flush. Like where the side hits and where the hood comes down, or the frunk, whatever they call it. The front
trunk?
Yeah, front trunk. The fupa.
That was good.
It's a little fupa. It wasn't really flush. Like if you look at my truck, everything is like very clean, flush. Yeah. It was like overlapping it a little bit. And on the other side, it was like underlapping it. It wasn't lined up. It wasn't real clean. The back, where you look at the bumper, like they just aren't real. I'm like, I don't know if I want one of these for $100,000 anymore.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, if you bought it between November 13th, if it was manufactured between November 13th and April 2024, about 3,878 trucks are being recalled. Are likely many, if not all, the trucks on now, which almost all of them on the U.S. road.
That sucks, bro. And I told Raven too, I was like, I'm not going to buy one right away because I want to see how it goes. You know what I mean? Like all these new Chevys, I love the new Chevys, but I got the 05 with the cat eyes. I can't get rid of it. It's my favorite truck. It's never had a problem. Well, it's had a few problems, but I can't get rid of it because these other trucks, they got these other issues, or I don't like how the engines turn on and off, and I'm just like, I can't do it. Even when I get a new truck, I'm probably still going to keep my truck because I just haven't found a truck I love yet. But
bro, go Toyota.
I was going to say those new Toyotas are looking pretty good, but that V6 turbo, I don't know.
Dude,
I'm going to have to get like a 2020, like a V8. I don't know. I don't know about the new.
My 2008 Toyota Tundra, I got from Elite Auto over here on Blackstone. Mm-hmm. I got it 80,000 miles, fully decked out. Like it has rims, tires, looks shiny, red. Some of the windows are tinted. I got it for $20,000.
Yeah.
I took it to a smog shop.
How many miles are on that thing?
Well, now it's like 120. But when I got it for $20,000, it had 84,000 on it. And I
yours only has 120?
And it's 2008, bro.
No.
We'll go look at it right after this.
No, your numbers are off on that. You drive that thing everywhere.
But I don't drive a lot. When I do my taxes, dude, I only pop like maybe 8,000 miles a year.
You're doing like long drives to like LA for when you used to do the DJ thing, but not like, but in town you don't drive a lot.
No.
Because every time I talk to you, say, "Oh no, you fly."
I live right next to the freeway.
Never mind,
you fly everywhere.
A lot.
Yeah, I fly a lot.
You're killing us all, dude. I'm so pissed at you right now.
Actually, I don't drive a lot, so technically I'm not responsible. And that plane was going to fly whether I was on it or not, so I might as well take advantage.
When was the last V8 for Toyota? Like 2020? Like when did the V6s come out? When can you get a V8 Tundra? Like when was that? Like 2000? 22? Because the new ones are all the V6s, right?
No, I have a V8.
Yeah, but yours has no weight. Like, I know, like, I think they started changing the motor sizes, like, around 2020, I think? 2018?
Oh, you're saying when did they get rid of it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because even, like, remember the Tacoma, or the 4Runners, remember? They were doing V6 and
2021, to answer your question.
2021.
The last year of the V8 Tundra, 2021.
Okay, so I'm going to have to get me, like, a 2020, 2021. I just love my V8s, dude. I don't know.
It's a gas hog. I wasn't prepared for that.
I fucking love it.
But
either that or I'm getting Gavin's
better.
TRX. That thing was a demon, bro. 800 horsepower?
I'm surprised he's alive, bro. The way he drove.
800 horsepower? Dude, when he drove away at night, his lights went, they were gone.
Yeah.
And all you heard was that crazy motor. And I was like, dude, I want to Dodge.
Bro, how much money is he making?
A lot.
He's got to be just...
Well, he's Indian. He's got like 20 businesses.
Yeah, he's got to be making some money.
Gavin, we love you.
Yeah. All right, let's not get too off topic here. Let's wrap it up. One of the two.
Sorry if you're not Indian. I can't remember. But yeah. But I don't know, man.
Climate change.
We are always talking about the same damn thing. It feels like
it's all domino
we're fighting for the wrong thing. We got these teams. People call me conservative. People call me this. I'm like, dude, I'm just in the middle. Common sense. If I lean a certain way, 10 years ago, I was old school liberal. Now I sound like a conservative. And 10 years, I'll sound like a Democrat. Like, they just keep us fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're fighting, we should have free energy.
We should have free energy.
Our bill should be cut in half.
Or we shouldn't have no bill.
We should have no bill. We should just have to work for food. We should have to work for this, certain things. We should all keep, the community has to help. Everyone has to do their part.
Well, so check this out. Theoretically.
But oil comes from war, too. We should have no wars.
So if you have free energy.
It's crazy.
You, in theory, could be able to automate a water filtration system.
Mm-hmm.
That runs each other. But we should have technically free water, filtered water.
And we're having droughts here, and we're right up against the ocean. How do we have droughts here, and we're 2.5 hours away from the ocean?
Well, that's salt water.
It's crazy. Well, I know, but I've seen farmers create these crazy, there's like 50 different pipes, and they look like mirrors all over the place, and it gets so hot that as the water goes through it, it comes out steam on the other end. All the salt's gone.
You mean that we could pull water out of the air?
Yeah. Like as you're pulling salt water, it goes through these pipes, and it gets so hot that as the water comes out the bottom, it's purified water.
Yeah, because steam.
And a farmer made it. What the fuck? Dude, we're fighting over the wrong shit.
We are.
All the time.
Well, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, do your own research.
Do your research before you come arguing, because I'm just going to throw names at you, and I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, go look at this guy. You're on this team. You're on that team. No, it's them versus us. Don't ever forget that.
Yeah, that's why
you're not the elite.
I don't buy into those labels or those parties or anything like that. I can't align with any of those.
I used to back in the day. I switched twice, and then I just register independent now, and I just go for the person I like.
Yeah, something happens when you hit 30s.
Yeah,
as a man, you're like, oh.
Well, what happens is you realize I have to pay how many taxes? And then you go, when I was younger, I wanted everything to be cool and free. And now I'm like, if I got to work and pay taxes, you got to work and pay taxes. That's what happens.
Well, once again, should all be free. Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, maybe.
Nikola Tesla.
Shout out Nikola Tesla.
R.I.P.
All right, we're out. See you later.
Bye.